because there's so much stuff floating around. I don't know, people trying to say they wasn't together.
Basically was trying to get into a threesome. What's going on, ladies and gents? Welcome to another experience known as Kay and Manny. I'm the one they call Manny. She's the lady of all K's. And we have a special episode for you. We're going to talk about the era that we both grew up in, the 80s and 90s. Mostly the 90s, but not so much the 80s because we were little kids and we don't know too much about the 80s. I mean, the 80s was a very tumultuous time. We'll explain why. But anyway, Lady K, how you doing?
I am good this morning, Manny. Thank you for asking. I came here with the throwback, and I say, Lady K, you were leopard? Yes. Let me tell you something. Leopard, my mama always told me that leopard will always come back into style. And you know, back in the day, they used to rock like the animal print so hard, and I still love it. But, you know, that's why I came today with my little leopard dress. I think it's cute, but again, my mama told me leopard never go out of style. The 80s never go out of styles. The 90s never go out of styles. And I will forever bang 80 and especially 90 music. Okay?
Okay, hold on. I have to disagree with you on one thing. The 80s.
What?
The 80s kind of went out of style, and it went out for all the good reasons.
I'm talking about music.
Okay, music.
Yeah, music.
I agree.
Right.
Everything else, we don't need that to come back.
Yes.
We
no,
don't
we
need
don't want
that
everything.
Stuff. Wait. We don't need some of that stuff in the 80s to come back. I.e. crack, i.e. Jerry Curl, i.e. There was a lot of things in the 80s that we kind of want to forget.
Right, we're not talking about that.
Ronald Reagan, George Bush, the father, not the son, but the father.
Right.
Yeah. We kind of want to remember them, but you're wearing the leopard print. I don't know what leopard you killed. I'm wearing an old T-shirt from back in the day. Now I'm not going to lower this camera further down because unfortunately this shirt is very much stretched out because of me growing sideways and a little bit forward. But that's not the point of the matter.
I'm mad that you said that. You grew sideways. That's a good one, Manny.
I mean, come on. I was a lot thinner back in the day until I learned how to cook my own food.
Stop it. But hold on. See, but I got to go there, right? I got to go there. See,
okay, go for it.
We cook our own food, but we got to make sure we're doing it on the healthy side. You know what I'm saying? And I think also, too, that's a big transition, too, like going from the 80s to the 90s. Actually, still in that time, people still was cooking home-cooked meals. Well, I'm going to tell you one thing that I do remember, because pretty much my grandmother raised me. Shout out to my grandmother. I kid you not. When I used to go, who remember this? When I used to go to my grandma's house, she had that little sofa that had like some
the plastic
with the plastic. Yes, because you said home cooked meal.
No, I'll take it a step further. Who remembers the stuff when you went to your grandparents' house? Who remembers the little grease can that's in a coffee can?
Yes.
Had all types of grease in there. Had fish grease from when you cook a hamburger, grease
for your fish. Hold on, I'm gonna kick it up and next. You know, you in there actually looking for some extra stuff, but every time you open up certain things, you be like, "Damn, that got sugar in it." You be like, "Where's the real cookies at?" You know how those little Danish butter cookies, and after they finish, your grandma be putting her needles and threads in it. That's what my grandma did. You would think, "Oh, that's cookie nails tins." No. You know, your friends come over, they're like, "Oh, I want a cookie." You're like, "That's not a cookie." My grandma got her needle and thread in there.
Who remembers putting just about any leftovers in butter bowls?
Yeah.
My parents, even though they're probably going to listen to this, sorry for putting y'all out there. I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying this, but okay. My parents were we had the Betty Crocker butter bowls that are like this big, and they came in that brown container.
Right.
Before they turned into the light brown container, we put just about anything in there. And sometimes we may forget that stuff is in there, and then we try to open it up, and then all of a sudden we see the food transform into something else.
Right.
Yeah,
But Manny, I have a question for you, right?
Go for it.
Back in those days, what now that you're an adult, because sometimes we don't understand when we're a kid, but what reflecting back, what do you think you appreciated growing up in that era?
That we didn't have responsibilities. All we had to do was wake up, go to sleep. Everything else was taken care of.
Well, hold on, and then now I know we're hurting on that because remember back in the days, I can't wait till I get bigger and get out your house because you make me sick.
Boy, were we stupid.
Boy.
Whoever told us we need to grow up was dumb. Thank y'all for lying to us.
For real.
We didn't want. I mean, think about it. We shouldn't have grown. I mean, my mother tells me this, and you tell me all the time. My mother is a woman of wisdom.
Absolutely, she
appreciate the time that you're in because once you get older, you can never get it back.
Absolutely,
and that's a true statement because the times that most of our teenage years wanted to get older or grow older, because let's be real, when we were teenagers in the 90s, we wanted to act all fast and what have you, and then we wanted to act like we were grown, and then until we get grown, and then we realized we didn't want to be grown no more.
Listen, I'm gonna tell myself on in front of everybody. I thought I was grown. My mama kicked me out the house. Okay, I had to have some humble pie. My mother kept telling me, "Listen, all these friends you think is your friend, they ain't your friend. I'm your real friend." And she mean that in the term as she's the one that's always gonna have my back. And guess what?
Okay.
Years later, mama still got my back, even though she drive me crazy. But I can say one thing that, when you're younger, sometimes you be so mad at your parents, right? For some of the stuff that they did, but you didn't understand what they was trying to protect you from, because they all know that the world is nasty and cruel. Yeah. So like we said, growing up in the 80s and 90s, we think it's all good, but that's because we had the love of our parents and then what they gave us. And one thing that I appreciate, Manny, and I'm sure these kids will never learn this day, is that I actually had to wake up early so I can watch my favorite cartoons, and so I can tune into Soul Train, so I can tune into Xena. I mean, all that I appreciate it. I remember I said, "Hey, if I overslept or if I woke up too late, you don't miss everything. You don't miss everything." So I can say, I think in that era, I think that's the last era where they can truly appreciate, before technology.
Saturday morning cartoons.
Not even just the cartoon, before technology events, just to have the urgency. You see what I'm saying? Back then, created the urgency. Oh, you got to get up and get it now, because if you don't get it now, you're going to miss out. Versus now, everything is at our leisure and at our pleasure. So it's a whole different realm now, and not to knock technology, because as time goes on, things are going to evolve. Because one thing about time change. You may not want to change, but it's going to change eventually. But we can still take some good values that we learned back in the day. Like we know when that street light come on, you better be in the house.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very true statement. But let's circle back here. You said you got up early in the crack of dawn to watch Saturday morning cartoons.
That's right.
I did that too. I woke up at 6:30 every Saturday morning. My parents looking at me all crazy, talking about, "So why are you up so early?" Because I want to watch this, and this. You know what I mean?
But hold on, I gotta tell you,
my younger brother, on the other hand, he slept right through them. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those. Yeah. But what was your favorite Saturday morning cartoon back in the day?
I'm going to tell you my favorite cartoon, but I got to tell you this. I think it's so funny, right? Monday through Friday, we hate getting up for school, but on Saturday morning, we can't wait.
We always get up early. No. Not just Monday and Friday. Monday through Friday. Sunday through Friday. Right. Remember, we did not want to get up early to go to 8 o'clock service.
That's right. It's like, I got to go to church. I don't want to.
I have a funny story about that, but we'll save that for another episode.
Right. But going back to your question, Manny, oh my gosh, one of my favorites was Woody Woodpecker, Tom and Jerry. Oh my gosh, the Jetsons, the Flintstones. And it's so funny how I just said the Jetsons, right? And if you think about it, everything that transpired there, It's happening now. It's happening now, except the flying cars. But who knows? Pretty soon that might be coming as well.
They have flying cars. They're called Teslas.
Yeah, but they not in the sky yet. You see what I'm saying? Like I said, it's coming. It's coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're supposed to have a whole bunch of stuff here in 2021, but yeah, they lied to us. But anyway, you said Woody Woodpecker and all them guys. Now, me, on the other hand, I think down the road, and some people in Dallas may remember this show. And yes, I'm about to be biased here for the sake of the city of Dallas. There was a show back in the day called Peppermint Place. I used to watch that show. Now, that was kind of like a bootleg version of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, except it's more geared towards Texas. And they had puppets. This guy looked like a freaking peppermint candy. Like he had the red and white stripes down. I mean, if you go on YouTube, type Peppermint Place, you'll see what I'm talking about. I mean, I'm telling you, that was one of those shows that I used to grow up and watch back in the day because it came on at 6:30 in the morning. But then you had all these other shows that came in, but that was the one show that I really enjoyed looking at. And all the cartoons that I watched were on ABC.
Right.
Or Channel 8 for some folks. But yeah.
And Channel, I don't know what this network was, but I know I used to watch Channel 11. You know how you remember the channels, but you can't remember the networks.
Oh, I remember the network. Most of them were ABC. Channels. ABC had that cartoon game on lock. Now, another cartoon that I liked back in the day was Batman and Spider-Man. Yes.
Gargoyles.
Gargoyles came on the weekday.
Wait, Manny, I'm going to need them to put in the chat what was your favorite cartoon back in the day. Matter of fact, wait till this show is over and join us on the Facebook page and please tell us what was your favorite cartoon back in the day. So hold that thought. And go to the Facebook page and go ahead and type it in.
Yeah, put it down. Let's talk about something else that we loved so much back in the day. Video games.
Oh, what about music? Music.
Okay, you want to do music? All right, let's do music.
Nah, let's do video games first. I got to talk about my number. Everybody know back in the day, Super Mario Brother. Matter of fact, Mario Brothers. Before they came, Super Mario Brother was the ish for me. And I know a lot of people like this Lady K, yes, but Zelda. Oh my gosh, I love Zelda. Listen, I had a Zelda.
I never played Zelda.
Listen, I wanted to wear my Zelda shirt today, but I couldn't find it. But let me tell you something. I was a big Zelda fan. I done passed that game so many times, and some people are like, "Oh, this is too hard." But I'm a strategic person, so I loved it. So what was yours?
I never was into Zelda.
Really?
Really. I mean, everyone knows that the Mario Brothers had that combination game, Duck Hunt. Now, that was a game I liked. I mean, a lot of people now choose Call of Duty, but they all remember Duck Hunt. But another game that I really like on Nintendo, a lot of people may remember this game, Mike Tyson Punch-Out!
Oh, yes, I do. I do remember that. Wow.
That was
looking back.
If you didn't have that game, you wasn't. But let's be real though. Mike Tyson Punch-Out! Was a favorite of mine. Another game that I like, even though it wasn't really a true basketball game, but it was a basketball game called Double Dribble.
Right.
And it had teams, but it wasn't really the actual, like for instance, you had New York and they dressed up in blue, but they weren't called the Knicks.
Right.
But yeah, it was like one of those things. And then another favorite of mine, and me and my brother would literally play this game all freaking day if we could. Excuse me, Tecmo Bowl. Ooh. That was a football game. Tecmo. It was a football game.
See?
Before Madden, before Madden, there was Tecmo Bowl. And for those who remember those who played Tecmo Bowl know you could play that game for hours. And if you chose the Raiders because of Bo Jackson, because he was the only person with a 99 overall rating, I hated you. I literally hated you because you always choose that one play where he goes up the middle or goes to the end, and you just egg it on. I hated you for that. But go on.
All right, we're gonna calm down, and I'm gonna have to throw that in. That we already know this was one of the biggest things. Sega, yo, I used to love going up with me and my cousin before we played Sonic. Sega.
Mm.
You wasn't
Did
a
you
Sega
ever beat Sonic?
Huh?
Did you ever beat Sonic?
Listen, I love Sonic. I used to always want to be Sonic, but my cousin was stingy. He always wanted me to be Tails and not be Sonic. I didn't want to be Tails. I wanted to be Sonic, okay? I don't want to be the side person. He always wanted me to be the side person. I'm like, nah. So we used to fight about that.
And the game she was talking about, Sonic 2.
Yeah, Sonic 2.
Sonic 2.
Right.
Because the original Sonic was just him. But did you ever beat that game?
I can't remember, but I know my cousin did because he was more of a gamer than I was. We both were gamers, but he used to go hard. Zelda was my lane, and TKO and Mortal Kombat. Ooh, he was heavy into that. But that was a 2-player game, so or sometimes you fight in the system. I like fighting the system. I rather play some. It's much better when you playing with somebody else.
But what's so funny? You mentioned Mortal Kombat. Like there was 2 games like that. Street Fighter 2 and
right.
Mortal Kombat. Now, unfortunately, my parents did not allow me or my brother to play Mortal Kombat because of the obvious thing. Because back in the day, when Scorpion did his fatality, he pulled his mask off and had that skull of fire and he burned people. Yeah, that happened. Plus those fatalities. Now, but if you fast forward to today, those fatalities now.
Right. So
yeah. Now I understood why I wouldn't even let my niece or my nephew when they get old enough to play Mortal Kombat because some of that stuff now is just brutal, and it's just like you gotta watch cartoons after you play some of those characters on Mortal Kombat because they just up the brutality measures to just a whole fever pitch, and you're just like, who comes up with this stuff? Like, how do y'all sit amongst each other and say we gonna make the most goriest, the most vile, the most senile of fatalities ever, and then all of a sudden y'all just create it and you be like, I got a better idea. No, y'all need therapy and Jesus, man.
Okay, yeah, you finished. Go. You got that off your chest, Manny. You finished?
Yes.
Okay. So now that Manny's finished and he said how he said, we're gonna talk about music. And back then, I'm biased. We had the greatest music ever back then. We can start.
Here we go.
Yes, we can start because in the late 80s, Miss Anita Baker came out. Oh my gosh, she just did something to me, or she changed my world.
I thought you were talking about something else. Okay, go ahead.
Yes. I'm going to talk about Miss Anita Baker. And I mean, there's other people too, but that right there, she was just like, wow, that she just blew my mind away. Michelle Lay, Queen Latifah.
Mariah Carey. This is Mariah Carey. That's when the girl next door, Mariah Carey, not the Mariah Carey now.
Right. Before hip hop truly came out, because it started where I'm from in the Bronx, USA. Yes. Listen.
No, we're gonna have this conversation another episode. We really are. We're gonna have this conversation another episode, but
we're gonna go deeper. We're gonna go KRS-One, LL Cool J. Oh my gosh, I can go. That's the 80s. I can go on with that. Run DMC. Listen, so I got my love between hip hop and R&B, and so I had to name those few people, and then let's go more into the 90s, and that's what we talked about before. The R. Kellys, the Teddy Rileys, Andre Harrell, he was more of a behind the scene, but still I give much love because all those people that I just named, and for the 90s, they brought a new sound, and it was popping back then.
Yeah. 90s, I mean, I always tell these kids now, the 90s hip hop was much better than the hip hop now, in my personal opinion.
Hello.
I think the funny thing is, at one point we had an old school hip hop station. It's gone now, but I remember when people my age was turning that on, and their kids were just like looking at them like, "Really, mom? Really, dad?"
Right, I'm listening.
Like how we used to do when their song came on back in the day. Like, for instance, I remember my mom would play Flashlight by Parliament, And I'm like looking at her like, you like this? Now we listen to it.
Right,
But,
we didn't appreciate good music back then. But I also got to say this too. I don't know about you guys, but if I was in my room on a Saturday morning and I was sleeping, and all of a sudden I heard music, oh, you know what time it is. That means it's time to get up and clean. Clean to some good music, yo.
Right. I remember my dad one Saturday morning. I remember my dad banged Zap or Roger Troutman early in the morning on Saturday, and I was just like looking at this. I'm like, oh God, here we go. That's when you know, like when you play, like when my mom played jazz music. Oh, we would have to clean up the house.
Yeah,
and I would hate that.
I have to say that's another good throwback too. Even though I know back then we couldn't stand it, we hated it. But at least right now we can talk about it. At least we know when Saturday come, all those plans that you had, especially my mother, she didn't care. She was like, oh, you got plans today? Oh, that's nice. You're going to clean my house first before you go out and do what you want to do. And but you got to appreciate it. I don't know.
And they will do the white glove test and everything. Like my mother would say, okay, you got to dust this. I'm like, who dust?
No,
like, where do we live? In a hospital?
You said when we live in the hospital, I can't. Now, my mom wasn't that thorough. No, it wasn't that thorough. But yes, I just want to say this, Manny. We have really talked about some really good things that's reflecting back on our childhood. Who knew right now at this day and time we would appreciate? But that's just our message to you, everyone. Even though the day and era is changing, we can still keep some of that stuff to heart because it molded us into the person that we are today. So just appreciate that. We are definitely running out of time, but we appreciate you hanging out with us this Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Look, that's the thought right there. You getting up at 11 a.m. just to watch Kay and Manny, and probably your kids are probably up too. So you're saying I might as well just tune into Kay and Manny. But we thank you, everyone. Continue to follow us at the Lady K Chat Podcast here on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. And we're also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Had a hard time getting that out. And you can also reach us on our website at www.LadyKEnterprises, INC right now. And right now, please go to our Facebook page and drop those comments about this episode so everyone enjoy the rest of your day.
All right. Have a good one, all.